Welcome home. This is Audio EXP, the weekly podcast from Geek Native. I am your host, Gertie, and it is time to catch up on the latest tabletop and other geeky news. This week we are looking at an incredibly ambitious science fiction adaptation from a major British design studio, a return to boutique roots for a beloved publisher, and the dark arts of the trading card market. We also have updates on a staggering $8,000 vampire event, a revival of a classic comic, and some fantastic coverage from local game shops across the country. Okay, well, let's get right into it. Before we get into the main headlines though, I have a quick update regarding our RPG Publisher Spotlight. As you know, Open Sesame Games won the community vote this month. We have been reaching out to arrange an interview, but have not yet heard back. While this lack of communication is a bit of a concern, we absolutely want to celebrate and highlight their work. So we are going to push on and produce the Spotlight feature without the interview, ensuring it goes live in time for the end of the month, so you can still discover the fantastic games they have been publishing. Our lead story this week is a massive announcement of fans of hard science fiction. Adrian Tarkovsky has officially partnered with the Sheffield-based independent powerhouse Rowan Rook and Deckard to create the Children of Time role-playing game. This is a staggering project. Tarkovsky's Arthur C. Clarke award-winning series is not your typical adventure story. It spans thousands of years, tracking the desperate remnants of humanoid activity on board decaying arc ships while simultaneously following the accelerated evolution of non-human species on terraformed worlds. Adapting that immense scale into a playable tabletop experience is going to be a monumental design challenge. Rowan Rook and Deckard are stepping up to that challenge with a phenomenal design team. Minerva McJanda, Grant Howitt and Elaine Lithgow are spearheading the mechanics. They are moving away from the grim dark fantasy of previous hits like Spire and Heart, instead taking us to the sprawling cosmic stage. The game utilises the ambitious Twine Society mechanic. Players are tasked with managing the alien human arc ships while also nurturing newly uplifted species on the planets below. You are not just playing a single plot. You are acting as the authors, an entire exodus. The system draws heavily on the multi-generational storytelling found in The Legacy, Life Among Ruins, allowing groups to switch focus between large-scale societal shifts and sudden flashpoints of immediate character drama. The beloved Fallout mechanics from the previous games also return, ensuring that a failed dice roll does not stall the story, but rather acts as a dramatic narrative engine. And we know Tarkovsky has been looking for the right publishers for this project since 2023, and it seems he has found the perfect home. The sheer ambition of bridging micro and macro storytelling makes this one of the most exciting upcoming releases in the independent scene. This week on the site we have been running some fantastic features focusing on local game shops, stretching all the way from the north of the country right down to the south. Physical retail spaces are the absolute lifeblood of our hobby, but running them presents unique challenges. We sat down for an extensive interview with Loaded Dice to talk about how exactly they are preparing the WAG house for the arrival of Warhammer 40k 11th edition. Edition changes in massive role-playing or even wargaming systems bring an enormous amount of logistical friction. Store owners have to navigate the clearing of old inventory and updating of the community tournament rules and the management of player expectations. The team at Loaded Dice provided a brilliant, transparent look at how a dedicated venue handles the tradition of a brand new era in a grim, dark warfare. And sticking with the realities of physical gaming spaces, we also published a, I think, fascinating piece featuring Stuart Robb. Titled Beyond the Foil, this feature lifts the lid on the dark arts of trading card manipulation. The trading card game market has become heavily financialized in recent years, drawing in speculators and bad actors. Rob guided us through the frustrating world of scalping, the weighing of booster packs, and deliberate market manipulation. These practices are a genuine concern for local communities and for players who simply want to enjoy the games without competing against aggressive financial speculation. It's a sobering read, but perhaps these tactics, or understanding them, are the first step in protecting the local store ecosystem. Looking at the wider publishing industry, we have a story of corporate restructuring and a deliberate return to independent values. Ivan Van Norman has returned to lead Hunters Entertainment, and the studio is actively pivoting back to its boutique roots. Hunters Entertainment is a fascinating company. They built their reputation on highly innovative, creator-driven role-playing games like Kids on Bikes and the silent, text-based masterpiece Alice is Missing. However, they also waded into massive licensing properties like Altered Carbon and navigated close ties with the Critical Role ecosystem. Rebuilding a studio is never simple, but this move feels incredibly positive. They have secured a brand new warehouse facility and are stepping away from the exhausting cycle of massive corporate licensing. The goal is to refocus entirely on the boutique, high-quality role-playing games that made them famous in the first place. Ivan Van Norman, stepping back into the leadership role, brings a clear, passionate vision to the company. In an industry that often prioritizes endless growth and massive intellectual property acquisition, it's highly refreshing to see a studio actively choosing to scale their operations to focus on pure creative output and independent design. If you're looking for an unparalleled level of immersion and happen to have a massive budget, you will want to hear about our next story. The price of immortality has been set, and it is $8,000. Jason Carl, widely beloved for his work on LA by Night, and industry legend Mark Meir are heading to the hyper-premium Vampire the Masquerade experience in Los Angeles. This is an exclusive, highly curated live-action role-playing event that blurs the line between tabletop gaming and luxury immersive theatre. The staggering $8,000 price tag covers a multi-day narrative experience, complete with high-end accommodation, bespoke costuming guidance, and interaction with a cast of professional actors. It highlights a trend towards ultra-geek tourism, where deep-pocketed fans can buy their way into fully realised fictional worlds. While the specific event certainly prices out the vast majority of the community, it's a fascinating milestone for the hobby. It proves that the narratives we create at the kitchen table have the cultural cachet to command premium high society experiences. And just to be clear, that is the $8,000 ticket. It's a high end. There are lower prices available for us mere mortals. Returning to the traditional tabletop experience, we recently spoke to Ryan Lewis about his highly unsettling new project. He has created a 1950s dystopia setting called Serenity Springs. Designed as a setting for 5e, it leans heavily into suburban horror, hiding terrifying realities behind a forced cheerfulness and a pristine picket fences, that sort of thing. What makes this setting truly brilliant is a unique mechanical system called censored violence. In Serenity Springs, the horror is heavily regulated by an in-universe television broadcast aesthetic. Players are mechanically constrained in how they can describe their actions and the damage that they do might be inflicted. A brutal sword strike cannot be described with gore. It can and must be framed through the lens of a heavily censored, family-friendly sitcom. Blood becomes a mere spell, and grievous injuries are glossed over with disturbing mandatory smiles. It's a phenomenal psychological technique that makes the underlying violence feel so much more oppressive and terrifying. By forcing players to adhere to strict social rules and censored mechanics, the setting completely redefines how a standard 5e combat encounter feels. For fans of British comics, we have some brilliant news regarding the long-awaited revival. Michael Carroll and Tom Foster have officially teamed up for the Trigan Empire for 2026. This legendary comic originally captivated readers with Don Lawrence's breathtaking painted artwork, blending science fiction technology with the aesthetics of the Roman Empire. Rebellion has been doing incredible work preserving the archives of British comics, and this new graphic novel finally explores the promised fall of the Empire. Michael Carroll is an absolute veteran of the industry, and Tom Foster's highly detailed art style is the perfect fit to honour the massive legacy left by Don Lawrence. It's a wonderful burst of nostalgia and introduces a foundational piece of British sci-fi to an entirely new generation of readers. And finally, we wrap up this week with some incredible digital deals and the chance to win a physical prize. If you want to explore a darkly comedic dystopian future where the computer is your friend, then you must check out the Paranoia XP role-playing game collection. Currently available as a massive fanatical bundle, this offers an enormous library of rulebooks and missions for one of the most brilliantly chaotic games ever designed. Remember to trust the computer. Alternatively, if you prefer your world filled with magic and monsters, Studio Agate has launched the Fate Forged Mega Bundle. This is a colossal haul of 5e dark fantasy material, providing everything you need to run deep, atmospheric campaigns in a beautifully illustrated setting. We also have a brand new competition running on the site. You can enter to win a physical copy of Dungeons & Dragons Crochet, a book of many patterns. It is packed with fantastic guides to craft your very own beholders, displacer beasts, or dice bags. Make certain you head over to Geek Native to get your entries in, those of you in the UK. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to Audio EXP. For all the links and the full stories, head over to Geek Native. Until next week, stay geeky.